Hi, this is Josh.
Hi, it's Nick.
Hi, this is Clifton, the Clifton Worley Show, and here we are today. We're trying something new. Last week we did a pilot for this. It was called the WorleyBirds, the Friends of the Clifton Worley Show. We had so much fun doing that we decided we were going to do it again. And so here we are. And this isn't about Clifton Worley. This is about the three of us. And we're just going to have a discussion about music and music that we love and gear that we love. And so we're just going to have a good time today. Right, guys?
Sure.
Right. Correct.
I'm,
Yes.
I'm going to make you have a good time whether you want to or not.
Ah, okay.
That sounds all right, I guess.
All right.
All right, here we go.
Well, I know one thing. The other day, we were talking about what today is.
Oh, yeah. Important day.
It's a very important day in the gear world.
Mm-hmm.
We we it, it's usually it's reduced down to one day, but it's kind of like Christmas. You got to keep the magic alive all year long.
All year long, yes. Yep. So
So
we should just come out and say it. Happy Otter Day, guys.
happy Otter
Yeah.
Day.
Today.
Yeah.
Well, I was not here. This is actually my first Otter Day. I had to do research yesterday to figure out what Otter Day actually was. So, 30 minutes of my life dedicated to Otter Day. Thank
Not a
God
waste.
I didn't-
Not a waste.
Thank God I didn't have anything else to do while I was on site on a photo shoot.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Well, has
So,
anybody seen any like? Okay, so this all stems from the interaction that Captain Payne had with from Audio Envy with the 60 cycle hum. Has anybody heard like from that guy since then?
not at all in any of the groups, and I'm in pretty much all of them. He
Yeah.
just disappeared.
So was his name actually on Facebook, Captain Payne?
Yep. Yep.
And,
That was
and
him.
could he have just changed his name? I mean, and
Well, he didn't change his company name though. He had this website and everything. I didn't even bother to check his website if it's still up anymore. He did this weird thing with he wound his with yarn or something, didn't he? Something weird like wound like the quarter-inch cables at the ends with yarn or something like that. Clifton, is it something like that?
Yeah. I mean, I remember that like it was something crazy and like it was like meant to be like directional. Like you had to use this one end on one end and another end on the other. Like you couldn't go the other way.
Yeah, it was directional cable, better with humbuckers, or better with single coils. You shouldn't use drive if you're going to test it. You shouldn't have any other cables involved around the outside of this thing. Um,
you
you shouldn't use it on bass because you don't notice it on bass.
gotta
And
do it.
something about the amp too. The amp was wrong too. It was
keep it away,
crazy.
keep it away from phone lines. Keep it away from phones. Period.
Yeah, yep.
Make sure you use it in a lead room.
Yeah. I could
Pretty
see
much. Yeah.
I could see it going as far as being like, now you need to send me your amp so I can rewire it with my wires inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
sorry that I missed this. This sounds amazing.
You know,
Not-
it
but, go ahead.
it really made the community for me because it went from being I was in Guitar Nerds for a long time, and it's a nice place there, but they're always on topic kind of. And then I saw this happen. It's like, okay, I'm home. I'm home. I saw them take out what eventually became a C&D troll. Just take him out cleverly and intelligently, and actually kind of nicely. Nobody was really mean to the guy. Well, some people were mean to the guy, but nobody was mean to the dude. It was like they were all nice to him, but at the same time they were just not taking any of his garbage, And then at the end of the day, I think everybody got kind of frustrated, and I think that you're right. I think Aaron said something about and misspelled the otter. Other Otter, and then Ryan ran with it and made the next day Otter Day, and we had just the most amazing time with Otter memes. I think I posted something like 400. No, I posted like something like 100 pictures that day. My phone filled up with otters to the point where I had to delete something to put to. It said your phone is full. I filled
Dude,
up my phone with otters.
that's pretty brilliant. I mean, I've seen that happen, with that other guy there, um, with the when we were posting all the katana pictures. That was
Oh
like the
yeah,
first drama I ever saw, and that was pretty funny. The 100
yep,
poster.
yeah.
Uh, but I thought, I mean, they just brilliantly take care of that. I
Hmm.
mean, I don't know how. I mean, that's just really, really good stuff. But my favorite part of that whole thread that you tagged me in the thread and brought it back up, and like when Ryan does videos, he's always got dorky shirts on, and he's
Yeah.
like not taking himself seriously. And in that video, he had some kind of like I don't know what it was, but it was like some like button down shirt where he had like three buttons undone with no undershirt.
Yeah, I noticed that. Seeing that video the other day is, I'm used to seeing now Ryan in these Hawaiian shirts. It was kind of funny that he didn't always wear Hawaiian shirts. Well, anyways, let's moving on to the next topic. So we were talking in an earlier discussion about different pedals that we've played, and Nick, your dad has the new Dan Electro pedal, and we were talking about that, and then you told me something about these cool vibe pedals that Dan Electro makes, and then Josh, you were kind of describing that for me. So, Josh, tell me a little bit about that again.
Yeah, that vibe pedal looks cool. I think that's the least expensive vibe pedal you can find that has a ramp button. It's going to be under $100, and it has a ramp button on it, which is really that's what makes a Leslie style vibrato sound cool. Is that you can hit that ramp and have it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's kind of like I mean, because they did actually two good vibe pedals before that one. They did the Dane Electro Rocky Road, the food pedal one. That one was kind of coveted and is kind of a collector's item now. And then they did the light blue one, and with the Cool Cat line, and that one didn't get as much acclaim just because I know there was a volume drop off perceived.
Yeah.
Like when you hit it, it was like the Boss tremolo. When you hit it, it's not actually losing volume, but it sounds like it because of the wavelength or whatever.
Yeah.
That one did that too, because apparently the volume now was connected to it, and you can do a mod where you can fix it. But with those two having a really cool sound, this one's the more improved one. Probably is going to be really good. I really want to try it. I'm hoping that Firehouse has it, so I can go in there and plug it in and check it out.
Well, the cool thing about them, it'd be cool if they sponsored us. The cool thing about them is that if it's at Gear Tree, you can call them up and you can say, "Hey, can you send that to Firehouse?" And they'll send it to Firehouse for you to try it out.
I should check that. And while I'm in there, I'll name drop Clifton, and I'll be like, I don't know if you guys know about the Clifton Worley show, but it's back and better than ever. And we're looking for sponsors.
Yes.
There's the marketing guy right there.
Go tell me more. And then they'll ask me download numbers, and they'll ask me I'll be like, oh, we get several dozen.
Well, actually, yeah, it wouldn't be bad because they're a national. They sell stuff nationally too, and their prices are actually pretty good. On their website for sure. And if they're not in Michigan, you don't have to pay sales tax and all that. So, yeah. Anything new with you, Clifton?
Well, I don't have any brand new gear.
But I'm trying real hard to sell my Taylor.
That has been a temptation.
Now that I've become a Martin man.
Yeah. It's been kind of, it's been on the back of my mind, like, okay, I've got 3 acoustic guitars now, and how many do I need? And I've got like 1 Tele and my Gibson ES 125, and I really want like some other electrics. So I don't know, it just depends. Every time I play my Taylor, like I kind of regret being able I would regret letting it go.
You sound really good playing it though. You do. That guitar sounds great. I'll admit it. Like, it. Yeah, but I think you'd sound pretty much good on anything you wanted to play. So,
well, I think
if you got a D28, I'm sure you'd feel just as good.
Which one feels better to you? That's the thing.
Yeah, that is true.
I still think the Taylor feels better.
There you go. You can't sell it.
No,
you can't sell it. It feels better.
That's why Josh still has a butt rock guitar instead of selling it.
Hey, I turned it.
He turned it into a not butt rock guitar. He turned it into a hipster special.
Hipster special, yeah, right.
That's a new term to me, anyways. Like butt rock. What exactly is butt rock?
Oh God, no. Can't get into this.
Okay. For me, butt rock is kind of adjacent to jock rock. It's adjacent to to the kind of rock that a jock would listen to, that somebody would listen to that doesn't really care about music or wants something aggressive and angry. But Aaron was right. It goes. It's nothing but rock. That's what it's supposed to be, right? It's
no,
80s.
He's wrong. He's
wrong. Okay.
The third Creed album was butt rock. It's the perfect example. Back in the day, you had the first Creed album was good. The second Creed album was okay. The third Creed album was terrible, but they wrote it just because they wanted to get singles on the air. That's basically it. So they wrote it to be on the radio. Although I do like the 5-year model that Aaron posted. So it goes back 5 years and it's supposed to be rock songs written for the radio. But to me, butt rock is like your triple rectifier with your PRS.
Yeah.
And your singer that sounds like this.
Second generation grunge is what you're calling butt rock then.
Yeah.
Second generation grunge, because it's where they try to sound like they're from Seattle, but they're not. Or they try to sound like
and then you get Nickelback.
That's Pearl Jam, though. That's
no, I know.
It's like the evolution from Pearl Jam to Nickelback.
Exactly, man.
That is great.
That is perfect.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So what Cliff was talking about, we'll go into our next thing, the clean slate. Talking about something that they talked about in, was it the Slum or the Hum that they talked about the clean slate about a year ago now?
Oh,
Clean.
So much crossover, I can't remember.
It keeps going.
Yeah. It got brought up in the Slum because I don't know if it was Jonathan Michael Diaz is selling a lot of gear.
He's
David Hill just sold a lot of gear.
Or Helix.
Didn't Jamie did that too? Sold a bunch of stuff for Helix, right?
No, Jamie had the Helix. He actually started buying pedals again.
Well, anyway, I don't know who it was, but somebody said, have you ever thought about selling everything to start over? And you guys said that like a year ago that was brought up or something like that too.
Yeah.
But that's funny to me as I fade in and out of guitar and need to rekindle my interest.
That's something that, like, during your interview you talked about a lot, Nick, where you said, well, whatever hobby you happen to get into, you sell off most of your other hobby to get into that hobby.
Because I'm stupid. Yes. No, I'm like that though. Like if a hobby starts to wane, a purchase usually brings me back into it.
I see that. Yeah.
So I'm impulsively buying something, and I'm like, actually, what brought me back into playing guitar again, just at the end of last year or this year, actually, the beginning of this year was I bought that Tysco, that Del Rey,
really,
which I'm selling now because I don't really want it, but. I bought it and I was like, started playing guitar more. Then I started listening to guitar podcasts. Then I got into the Hum and the Slum, and that brought me totally back to it. So, usually that purchase kind of rekindles the fire. One time it was a really bad Laney amp, like 4 years ago. I got a Laney acoustic electric amp, and that brought me back into it. You never really know when it's going to happen, but I don't think it's going anywhere this time. I'm having too much fun playing, but I understand it. Like, the purchase that really got me back into it was probably the Katana.
Huh.
I got the Katana because I didn't have an amp really. I had like a little 5-watt, but I needed something more practical, so I got the Katana, and now I'm having too much fun with the Katana. Because if I get bored, the Katana's got so many settings that I can just get on there and mess around and have a new sound. So, or I buy a pedal.
Yeah.
That's it for me,
So have you ever cleaned your slate? Have you ever gotten rid of everything that you thought, everything music related, and just stop? I mean, I think you have, Nick, but what about you, Clifton? Have you ever just gotten rid of everything musically related except for maybe one guitar or?
No, never got rid of everything. I let's see. There was a time when I was down to one Strat and one acoustic, and that was about 8 years ago. And then I started, but I had all this like keyboard and bass gear that I decided that I wasn't playing and I wasn't putting to use, so I decided to start selling off some of that, and then I started turning that into guitar gear. So then I started flipping things, and I started getting things just because I thought they were cool and I wanted to try them, but I didn't really necessarily need them. So then I would sell those things, and then right now, like my Taylor is the result of about 2 or 3 flips where I had it was a keyboard that I had that I traded for a entry level Martin, and then I traded that Martin for a super reverb amp, and then I worked on that super reverb. I sold it, and it was like a partial cash trade deal, and I had an amp and some cash. I took the cash and paid for the Taylor, and then I took and sold off that amp to come up with more cash for it. And so for a while there, I was without an amp, which was a really frightening thing.
Did you feel empty?
Yeah, and I had gigs that I was trying to play, and
With no amp.
With no amp.
But I had a speaker cabinet. Okay, so I borrowed a Fender Frontman from a friend, and I clipped some of those alligator clips on the back of it to an output jack, and went into my speaker cabinet, and that helped me almost get to like live stage volume. I did that for a little while until I can't remember what my next amp was, but ended up setting on a Blues Junior, and then I've got this Vox clone thing made by Living Tone. And I've kind of had the same lineup here for a while. Now, like, there are some guitars that I want. Like, what I want right now is I would like to possibly get like a Cower or a Equitz. And I'd love to get an Otis amps just because I like August. He's such a cool guy. And then I still want a Martin like HD 28.
So the equivalent of a house is what you're looking to pick up.
With all the stuff together, maybe, yeah.
What I need to do is sell my house and move into a mobile home, and I could do this.
Yeah,
no problem.
Actually, I have a friend who just got a HD 28. It sounds great, man. It's got a great sound to it. Somehow they got it. The elderly set it up to the point where it's like it feels like an electric. It's almost too low for an acoustic for me, but he sounds great on it, and it's nice and loud and beautiful sound, beautiful top on it, beautiful color. I could definitely see where somebody would want that as a lifetime guitar. Get that and not want anything else for sure.
Go ahead.
I spent 10 years without a electric amplifier at all. I traded like an idiot. I traded a Music Man HD 212.
Oh no.
$1,500 amp now. I traded it for a $300 Ovation acoustic 114. 114, the Josh White model.
An Ovation?
Yeah, I liked it, and it sounded great. It felt great. It was beautiful, but the problem is that it was and it was basically, it got me back into playing acoustic guitar, which is good. And I played that for a long time. And then I decided I wanted a Martin. So I sold that. I made a couple $100 at the time because I did buy that HD 212. I did buy that for $300. And so it's like it was kind of an even trade in my mind. Sold that and sold everything that I had and saved up for the Martin and bought that. And then a little bit later sold a bunch of other stuff that wasn't related and saved up for my Eastman mandolin, which now that sits in the case most of the time. I barely play that.
Hey, like my mandolin.
I mean, I love the thing, but I just don't really like playing it by myself. And if I don't have a reason to practice mandolin every week,
yep.
I'd rather not.
If you got people to play with, the mandolin's a great instrument. Solo mandolin just doesn't do a whole lot to me.
Not for me.
There,
Yeah.
But man, that music, man. Well, the one that wasn't the Johnny Winter one, the 410.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and those are weird because they're like a hybrid, aren't they? Don't they have a solid state and then the power section's an actual tube section, correct?
Which is why I liked it, because it was I had Class A. I had a converted PA head that I converted to a guitar amp that I found in a pawn shop for $25, and it sounded great. It was huge. It was huge sound. I put it through a 412, and the problem with it was I couldn't stand the sag. I couldn't stand it. I hated the sag. I hated it.
That's sag though.
No, there's nothing cool about sag. It's like, okay, when I play a note, I want that flipping note to come out of the speaker. I don't want it to wait a second. I don't want it to wait a millisecond. I don't want it to be soggy. I don't want it to be, limp, which is what's going to happen. That's tube sag is soggy and limp. I'm sorry.
This is starting to sound gross.
No, I'm telling you, tube sag is gross. That's what it is. It's gross.
Pants on the ground. Pants on the ground.
Exactly, and that's
looking like a fool with your pants on the ground.
Yeah, and so that's why I actually like that, but it was so loud. To get a decent sound out of it, you had to crank it. And what was the other thing? I didn't know how to EQ at that time, so that was the other thing. So I think that I didn't get the best out of that amp because it always felt kind of cold. When if I had been using it correctly, I think I probably still have it. But that thing had to be about 150 pounds because they had the speakers in the 212. They had gigantic magnets on the back, and it was.
Yeah, even the heads, even the Music Man heads, big. I mean, that's one amp I've never come across in a music store. I have never come across the Music Man.
No.
It's strange. I mean, I run into a lot of the one you find out around. I had one too. Was the Silverface Bassman. You find those everywhere.
Yeah.
But in fact,
where are you gonna play that?
Yeah, I had one too, and you're right. I couldn't I'd run it through the Bright channel, and it had a really good song on 0.5. Yeah. I couldn't turn it any louder than that. I mean, it was crazy. And then I guess a buddy of mine was like, "Man, you got to get down to Guitar Center. They got a one of those Silverface Bassmans that you had from the 70s. Only they converted it to the 5E3, the brown face, and it's already converted and it's all tore up. And I know you'd love it. And it's only $225." And I was like, "Oh man, I do want it." And then I was like, but then I'm going to go right back to where I was again and not be able to turn it up, and I can't stand that.
Yeah. So
I'm like, I'll just stick with my dad amp, my Katana. That'll be just fine for now. I'll just settle for that. And but I will just say I did when you said you pretty much clean slated. I did clean slate. I when I had kids, I didn't play for like 5 years very much. I played a little mandolin, but I got rid of pretty much everything that I could sell except for my beard. That's my resonator. And it's because I tore the front up with a Dremel accidentally. And that's why that guitar is still with me. But I love it. I love it now. It's become my thing. But that's the only guitar I had. And I had to kind of get all that and a little 5-watt combo that my buddy helped me hand wire because I blew it up. It caught fire while I was playing it and smoked. And he helped me point to point it. So if I tried to sell it, it would be a no-name 5-watter, and I'd get like $100 for it.
Right. And
it sounds way too good. It sounds like a vintage Champ. So there's no way I'm getting rid of it. That's kind of what my story was too.
Yeah, I've had some of those amps. I had a Music Man HD 130, I think that was the 212. That I got down in New Orleans. Get this for $60, but it was flooded out and it didn't work when I got it, and so I got into, like, for a little while, like fooling with amps and working on them, and so narrowed it down, got it working, like, kind of, but one of the speakers was blown, and I was gonna see about, like, reconing it or whatever, and it was just it was wonky. Like, I got it working sometimes, but then, like, some of the wiring was just kind of strange, and so I got tired of it and decided to pass on it because it was gonna need some money thrown at it. And so I ended up trading it to a guy who was an amp tech from somewhere. He was a couple hours away for some transformers for another amp project I had.
Oh.
And I was so mad. I hooked up that transformer to this. I was going to make a 5E3 like clone out of this Alamo amp that I had picked up. And when I did, like, it burned up the transformer.
Oh,
It's a bummer.
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, that's bad.
It was like, oh my goodness. And I don't know if there was something wrong with that transformer or, like, I did something to it. And I was, at that point, like, I started stepping away from amp, like, trying to make my own amp. It's like, I'm comfortable repairing an amp, but trying to, from scratch, like, design my own circuit and, put all the points together. I was like, it's time to get back to playing.
Yeah.
Yep. I never mess with that because I'm just too afraid that it would kill me.
Yeah.
I was
like, it would bleed the transformer, right, or something, or the chassis, and, like, I would just shock myself and die. Like, that's
one day I had my hand on a chassis and I let my hand slip, and I know that this place, like, was getting probably like 400 and something volts because I had just, like, put my meter to it, and I put my hand on it, and oh my gosh, like, it lit me on fire. Like,
oh my goodness.
Like, it was like one of those where it wouldn't let you go. Like, you had to kind of like, it mentally, like, I've got to let go or this is gonna kill me. It scared me to death.
I just pictured your beard just, like, going.
He used to be blonde, I bet. He used to be blonde.
Turned me red. It's all those popped blood vessels, I guess.
I think that's an interesting thing that you bring up. The your gear and being so interested in it kind of takes you away from actually playing the instrument sometimes.
Exactly.
I mean, thinking about even when I bought my katana, I spent probably 2 or 3 days figuring it out instead of actually playing it. Instead of actually playing music. There was a little bit of a slump because I was working on getting that thing to sound the way I wanted to, and I was exploring the features and saying, "Oh, this is cool. This is cool. There's a harmonizer in here. I'm going to play this harmonizer. There's this, this octave sounds really pretty good." And then I figured out what I liked, and then finally I was able to start playing again. But I can imagine there's guys who buy, pedal a week, or they're always trading stuff. And I'm thinking, if I did that, I'd be spending all of my time twisting knobs, none of it playing the guitar. None of it getting better.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat. Like, I have a 4-pedal rule. I will not, on my board, there will never be more than 4 pedals.
Really?
Because I'll sit there and mess and tinker and, keep doing stuff like that. I kind of just, unless I really want to be creative. I'm sure if I was in a band and I was like, all right, we're going into the studio, we should do something different. Like, if I was in the studio and I was looking to get inspired, I'd have a million pedals around me looking for stuff to do. I'd be Blake Wyland all over the place with pedals here and there and all that. But when I want to just go downstairs and play, if I have a whole board in front of me, I'll just sit there and push buttons and mess around, and I won't actually play. Where if I go down and just turn the amp on, kick my compressor and my drive on, and I'm good to go. And then I just have a boost usually. That, and I also am really bad at stepping on pedals. I'm really inaccurate. I think I need barefoot buttons because I miss every single time.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
my feet are so big, I can't see like what I'm coming down on.
Yeah.
Like,
I can relate to that. Like I I've always been a front man. Like seems like in every situation I've been, like if either I'm leading worship or I'm like the lead singer trying to play guitar, and it's too much mentally for me to, other than like kicking on a drive or something like that, to be changing like my tone while I'm playing.
Yeah.
Like I've always pretty much, unless like I get invited to play for somebody, like I don't do a lot of pedals. I just get a good solid tone that I can just work with. And I may like if I have to go into like a lead or something, maybe stomp down on an overdrive pedal or something like that. But
Yeah.
tap dancing is not in the cards for me.
and it's the vibe, and you're like, woo, here it comes. Here's the drive. Here I go.
Yeah.
Wow, 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 wow.
Yeah. Actually, I played electric at church for the first time in a while, and I kind of had a little bit of that because I had a song where I wanted to use my tremolo, and
It's
I had
tremolo.
tremolo, whatever. Hey, I was turning on and off the drive all the time, and I was doing volume swells and turning on and off the delay all the time, and it was like, yeah, I was like, that's a lot of tap dancing. I couldn't imagine having to sing or really do anything important other than play guitar at that time. And I've definitely missed a couple things where the reverb was supposed to be off, and I use a huge with the Hoff Mini, I use a huge reverb where it will go out of control if you try to strum.
Yeah.
And I use that for volume swells, and there were a couple times where I turned it off, where I didn't turn it off, and I have it set up so that if I'm on my volume pedal, I can move my foot a tiny bit and turn off the reverb, and I can move it a tiny bit and turn the reverb mix up and down. But I have small feet. I'm kind of the opposite. So but still, it was like, I knew there was places where I completely missed cues because I was tap dancing too much.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
That's why shoegaze is shoegaze, because they just stare at their pedal the entire
exactly.
the entire time.
Yeah, and I don't like to do that. I like to look up, and well, people say I'm scowling, but I'm smiling in my mind. I like to look up and look around and make eye contact and look at people's feet while they're playing to kind of get some cues off from that. But yeah, for sure, it was more gazing down this week. Eventually, I'll get the hang of it again. I was to the point where I didn't have to look so much, but I forgot to tell you, Nick. I sold the Ultimate Drive to a student. The Joyo Ultimate Drive,
the one that you were never going to turn off.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, that thing worked really well with the Orange and worked really well with the Epiphone Sheraton, but I didn't find myself using it at all with the Talman because it didn't need that. It's such an evenly balanced instrument that I don't need to have something to give it a little goose.
Pedals don't. You can't have one pedal work the same with every single guitar and every single amp. That's definitely true. There's not an always on something that goes good with everything unless it's like a clean boost or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you get to OCDs and tube screamers and blues drivers and those light drives. And then I the same thing with fuzz. I think fuzz can, like, I know the Katana, most fuzz boxes just don't sound good through that thing. They just it's too much low end. You have to EQ. And now I am finding little secrets, and I've been experimenting with the sneaky amps, and I'm finding some stuff that fuzz works really well on, like that. When I could not get it to work until I went to the Bright Twin, and the Bright Twin takes fuzz really well.
Yeah.
So does the Jazz Chorus and the Natural Clean. Those three channels, because that Katana's got a really good natural clean for a platform.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And that'll take a pedal really, really well. But some definitely don't. I mean, when I was just playing through the 5-watt tube amps, fuzz was incredible. And I was trying my half horse through my dad's Laney, and that was incredible. But Katana, totally different voicing. Way more headroom.
Yeah.
it's night and day, and that's why it always cracks me up when people say, "Oh, I can't get a good sound out of this thing. That pedal sucks." Well, it's like, well, that wasn't the pedal you're supposed to get for your amp anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Help you.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't throw a tube screamer on something that's already got a lot of mids and expect it to sound good and crank the tone up or something. I mean, you might want a blues driver instead because that's a more even push. You really got to kind of do your research, and I know people like to figure it out for themselves, but there's a lot of people that have already made mistakes and will save you money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna make Clifton want a katana. We're gonna make him want one, I guess, huh?
I love that, man.
I wouldn't mind having one. I don't know. Another amp at this point just doesn't make sense for me.
Well, you got that. Weren't you trying to sell that one you just said you had, the Vox one or whatever? Yeah, the Living Tone.
Yeah, I've had it up for sale, and it's just I'm upside down in it, So like for me to sell it, I would take it such a beating from what I paid on it.
I'm like in this crazy, like I want like a Vox. I'm in this Vox AC15 mode. Like I really want like an AC15, or a PB Classic 30 like a Bubo just bought.
Yeah,
that amp sounds great.
Those are nice amps.
Yeah, he really sounds great on that amp. That Telecaster is perfect for that thing.
It's interesting. Yeah, I think it's made him a much better player. Listening to his live streams, it's like you can tell. I could always kind of tell he was never really comfortable with his electric sound, and he just sounds. That most recent live stream he did, he sounded awesome.
Yeah,
he sounded really good in that.
That Ignator he had though is basically had an issue, and I looked it up and found out what the issue was, and it's a common issue. VHT and Bruce Ignator's amps have been kind of getting bad reviews for having cheap components, and the caps on them burn out really fast. And his amp has like a hum, and that's why he never got used to it. It hummed from the day he got it, and it's like not working properly. Because I wanted to trade him for the amp to see if I could fix it.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you get into those circuit board amps, with that aren't point to point, you got to mess with whenever you're messing with computer boards. That's just hit or miss. Like, I mean, there could be more wrong with it. I could touch the soldering iron on the wrong spot and screw up the whole amp.
Yeah.
So I just said, he was kind of, he didn't want to sell it to me because he's like, well, what if it breaks? I'll feel terrible. I'm like, well, I'm taking the chance. But, on the other hand, there's so many amps out there for that price range that you can find that are better.
Yeah.
And, And it was a good idea. My buddy's got one. He plays harp through it. And that night I was like, when I saw Gary Clark Jr., we were talking, and I was like, yeah, that amp's probably going to break. Just to let you know, you might want to sell it quick.
Sheesh.
He's like, great, just great.
Oh man, yeah, that's.
It was kind of funny, but even their VHTs are point to point, and they even get bad reviews from what I've seen. So I don't know what's going on. And Ignator, I think, is from Michigan too. So,
yeah, he is. He's always advertising. I'm actually friends with Bruce on Facebook, I think, and he's in all those amplifier forums. And he's always advertising his class, and those look like really cool amps, like high-end boutique amps that he makes, like in his class. But I don't know how it got sideways, like where he's got kind of this low-end tube amp that's hit the market, because that doesn't really seem like his character or what he's, capable of doing.
Yeah, it should be under a different brand name. If you're going to do that, that's cool and all, but you should really have it under like a Squier type of thing. It's not a bad amp, but you got to make it so that people don't expect too much out of it. You
mean like Wong's? Wait,
you know what?
Sorry,
actually, you know what?
I'm kidding, Darren.
You know what? I really am impressed with the way he is in the hum. I like. He's been a great addition to the hum.
I've heard good things about those amps.
Actually. Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
I'm curious to check them out because I thought they were just low end amps, and I've been kind of jonesing for one of those little 5 watts, for like a low watt amp. But he's also got kind of like a Voxy thing too, doesn't he? Like a 30 watt Vox that goes with like 400 bucks or something like that.
I think he calls it AC 30 or something like that, right?
Yeah,
Or AC.
something like that. Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm curious. He's got my attention. I just don't have any money to have attention. So at the moment, I wish I could just get him to send me one so I could do a demo and like send it back, but I'm not a good enough player to be demoing that, and I don't have a good enough recording software to do it. So
yeah,
it wouldn't do me any good. Then I just want to keep it. I'd have to pay him for it. So yeah. But
now I want to talk about something that I saw this week that we might be interested in. It kind of links in with the butt rock thing, because the way that whole conversation started was talking about Foo Fighters being butt rock, right?
Okay.
And if you go on Netflix, they have the Foo Fighter documentary on Netflix right now, and it was really, really good. I can't remember what it was called. But
is that the Sonic Barriers or Sonic whatever? Or,
I don't remember what it was called. But if you just look for the music documentaries, let's see here, Foo Fighters.
Sonic Highways.
You know what? Let me see here. I think that's right. Documentary. Let's see here. Back and forth. Wasting light. Back and forth. No, I think it's back and forth.
He might have done several.
Yeah, what I liked about it was it was, to be honest, I just like music documentaries. It's like I hate the Eagles with a passion.
You're like the dude, huh?
You're the dude.
No, I guess so. But it's like they ruined country, they ruined rock, they ruined Southern rock.
Well, they're dead now, Josh. So.
Well, Joe Walsh, and they even ruined Joe Walsh. They ruined Joe Walsh.
You can't ruin Joe Walsh.
From the James
Gang.
No,
he was awesome. He's awesome. Then he goes to the Eagles, and he's just another guy in the Eagles. But no, the influence they had because they were so successful turned it was basically like adding water to everything. They watered down every genre of music for the next 20 years. And so, but you know what? I've watched that documentary twice. I can't stand the Eagles, but I've watched that 3.5-hour documentary twice.
You got to watch the one on Lemmy.
Oh, yeah, I did.
That was amazing. That was amazing.
So good. Yeah,
he's like when he lived above a bar.
Yeah, right next to it. Yeah.
All he did was he'd just come downstairs and play that video game machine at the end of the bar for hours.
Yeah.
And then drink a bottle of Jack.
Yeah, for sure.
That was his life. It's awesome. I love that.
And people would just go there. Anybody who wanted to could go to that bar and sit there next to him and talk to him. And
this was after he was famous.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This is late in life.
He bought that place because it was close to the bar that he liked, and it had that particular video poker machine he liked, and so that's where he was.
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
He met it was cool because he met his son. His son just walked in and he's like, "I'm your son," and he had his son on the documentary, and they brought him up to his room, to his little loft he had over the bar there.
Yeah.
And it had Motorhead trivia or Motorhead paraphernalia everywhere, just famous stuff thrown all over the place. And he's like, "Well, yeah, some of the stuff is probably worth money," but he had it was Motorhead everywhere, but it was your typical it looked like a college bachelor.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Just this own little piece of rock history right there. It was really cool. You should check it out. Even if you don't like Motorhead's music, you should check it out because was one of those just one of those people that's super interesting.
Yeah. Well,
Tom Petty. Go ahead.
Tom Petty, Running Down a Dream. That's an amazing documentary. And then the Beatles, 8 Days a Week. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought it would be fun at this moment to jump off for a minute, and we're talking about these documentaries, but talk about some of the artists that we're digging right at the moment, and we'll just take a brief minute or so and talk about that and why we're digging it and why the rest of us should.
Well, why don't you start, Cliff?
Okay. Well, I'm ready for this. I've thought about this. I've got a friend who just released an album. He's a country writer, He's had cuts by Jacob Owen and Dierks Bentley, people like that. And he just came out with an album. His name's Travis Meadows. He's actually had several albums throughout the years, but this is his first full-length one he's done that is a country record, and it's got full production. And actually, Rolling Stone magazine did a write-up on it a couple weeks ago. And
wow.
It's called First Cigarettes, the name of the album. It's this dude's writing is intense because instead of like a lot of guys, who are like trying to write songs like to make hits, like these songs are about like just the tragedies he's dealt with in life and some of his memoirs. And a lot of guys have picked up his songs and he's had a few hits that way, but it wasn't like intentional. It was because like his songs are so good, So I was listening to that. Need to go check it out. It's on. You can check it out on Spotify or iTunes. And thinking about Chris Stapleton, his In a Room album is amazing.
That is very good. Yes, I dig that one too.
And there's supposed to be a volume 2 coming out on that.
He's one of the few country artists that I really like right now.
Yeah, I don't like, and this is getting me off on a little bit of a tangent, and I'll try to be brief because I could easily fill 30 minutes talking about this. That the Sturgill Simpson Sailor's Guide to Earth is a good album. I don't like a lot of the brand new country, but I like the shimmer of hope that's in country music, that it's like the roots-based country. I was watching last night, and I shared it on the Clifton Worley Show group. Ben Haggard, Merle Haggard's son, is out like hitting it hard, just touring kind of small venues, and he's amazing. And he's doing a lot of his dad's material at this point, but I know that he's got his own material, and I would love to see like somebody like that at the top of the charts, not some of the bro country acts that are there. And you know what? I understand that appeals like to a lot of people, and it's commercial, and what's commercial sells. But like I would love to see country music kind of take a turn where it was the good stuff was out there on the radio.
Totally agree with you.
For sure.
I can't get into the bedazzling. We don't need to go into
Yeah.
negative on the bedazzling country.
What about you, Nick? What are you hearing?
Well, I found my Pandora station's been rocking it, dude. Like I found the perfect mix of everything I like. I made a Black Pistol Fire station because I love that band, and I added a couple other bands to it that I really, really dug. And a band came up the other day called Mount Carmel. Okay. Have you guys ever heard of them?
No, I haven't.
It's a 3-piece sludgy 70s style rock, and it's actually more like blues rock. But they got a song called "Hear Me Now" on their Real Women album, and just amazing. It's just super sludgy, really powerful, great riffs. They play a little slide in there, of course, because that's gotta have that on a few songs. But that band is really cool. Another band I'm listening to, I'll give you a twofer. But there's a band called Radio Moscow. Have you ever heard of that band?
No.
They're another power trio, and this guitar player in this band is just a strat wielding monster. And they got a song called Black Boot that is super cool. So those are my two, Radio Moscow and Mount Carmel. Check those two out. Those are just, I don't know, I just dig them. Yeah. They come on every time, and I'm tapping my foot, and I know that's a good song. So
I'll have to do that for sure.
Now, you guys are going to laugh at mine, but what I've been listening to most the past probably 3 months has been the Aquabats.
Oh, jeez.
Straight up the Aquabats. And I know this. I know that's probably not something that people don't know about, or if they don't, people think of them as a ska band, but they're more like kind of they have a little bit of everything. And I've just been really enjoying the fun of the Aquabats. I find them really, really just fun to listen to, kind of pop punky,
Yeah.
And it's not my normal thing, but it's like I've been listening to singer-songwriter stuff for so long, and the really deep introspective stuff, and then the rock that I grew up with, and it's like, I just want to have some fun, and listen to something in the car with my boy that we can listen to for a half hour, 45 minutes, and then we come home, and like last Thursday we came home and we put on Fashion Zombies and Pizza Day, and he got on his drum set and he played along with it, along with me playing with the guitar on
That's
it.
awesome.
And yeah, it was just so much fun because it's just fun music that doesn't take itself too seriously, which gets back to that documentary, that Foo Fighters documentary. They never took themselves too seriously, and I'm kind of tired of that, I'm kind of tired of, okay, if you're going to be a great player, well, that's fine, but it doesn't sound like a lot of these guys are having any fun, It doesn't sound. There's a certain thing where it's kind of, you're writing a song and it sounds like you're miserable, and it sounds like you're getting out this sadness and stuff, and you're sharing it with the world. And I want to hear about how Thursday is Pizza Day and it's the best day of the week. That's what I want to hear.
Well, you definitely don't need to listen to some of the albums I recommended.
It's Pizza Day and it sucks. Because I'm lactose intolerant.
Whoa! I see, Nick. I see your guitar out on your lap, like you're fixing to play something.
He's fixing to.
I'm fixing to play to get into the Mojo minute.
OMG, that's amazing.
That's good.
So it's the Mojo minute. I don't know about amazing, but it's the Mojo minute. Because I am Mr. Mojo. Because I believe in Mojo and playing crap guitars I don't pay very much money for. So that was going to lead me into my purchase this week. And this isn't going to be a thing where every single time it's a guitar I bought or I'll be divorced. That's probably not going to happen. So, but I've been looking for last time I was on the Clifton show, actually 2 times ago, we were talking about parlor guitars, and I was really looking for one. And I was pretty sure that I was going to pick up something newer, probably a Recording King or a Gretsch or something like that. But then I got really into these Harmony Stellas. And for those of you who don't know, those are pretty much the Stella line by Harmony. They're USA made. Most of them have the steel reinforced neck, but not an adjustable truss rod. They're just a steel reinforced neck. So if you find one that's bowed, you pretty much got to get the net reset.
Right.
But sometimes you find one that's not all messed up. They usually had floating bridges. And they're usually, what's nice about them is that not only they're USA made, but they're solid woods. They're solid birch. And they have a really nice, bright tone to them. And they're great for finger picking, and a lot of slide dudes really dig them because they got this throaty Gibson sound, for very little money. And they're nice if you find a good one. So I've been scouring Reverb and eBay lately, and I finally found one that I wanted to buy that has a straight neck, that the action's not high, it's not bowed, and I ended up with a Harmony Bruno 669 parlor, and it's a Stella, but it's got Bruno 669 on it because apparently back in the 60s, it's an early 60s, C. Bruno and Sons was a store that carried Harmony Stellas. So Harmony supplied them. So sometimes if you get a Harmony Stella, you'll have Bruno 669 or Bruno, with a number of the instrument on there. So this one's a aged natural gloss finish, and I will post the link to it with some pictures. And it's got the cool hexagon style Harmony inlays. It's got the floating bridge, which I like, although to be honest with you, I'll have to see how it goes, but I usually end up putting like a dab of hide glue on each side to keep them down because I really dig in and I can't stand my stuff going out of intonation every single time I play. It also joins at the 12th fret, and I'm getting to the point now where I love guitars that join at the 12th fret. Nice wide neck, joins at the 12th fret, and I think it's It's just a simple. It makes you find notes up on the neck, which I like more, or lower on the neck, which I like more than climbing up the neck past the 12th fret and doing your wheedly stuff up there. I like that real heavy, throaty wound G string sound and playing on the low strings. So this thing's cool. I can't wait to get it. It's supposed to come in Friday, and I got the day off. And I think what I'll do is when I get it, and if it's not a complete debacle, I'll go live and show everybody it.
Okay.
But it's I already got plans for it. I already got a $5 gold foil sound hole pickup.
There you go.
Just like the one I put in my Kingston, but it's a humbucker, and I'm going to wire it to a jack, and I'm going to rev that thing up. So that's going to be my Mojo guitar for the first installment of the Mr. Mojo's Minute.
That sounds
cool.
fun.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
Yeah, and if somebody else finds one too, you can put it out to the listeners if they want to send it in. Yeah, I'd love to see your Mojo guitars that you're finding.
Yeah.
Just don't try to get me to buy it, because I probably will.
I just forgot. That made me think about a guitar that I forgot I had. I've got a PV Raptor that I put on consignment at a store in the town next to mine.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's been there about a month, and I forgot about it. And I was like, I need to probably go get that, because it doesn't look like it's going to sell. And
We'll do the 60 cycle mod contest with it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. That's a good idea. I didn't even think about. I just it's kind of like one of those guitars I just don't know what to do with, because I've already got guitars that I love, and so it doesn't like fit that. And so I'm gonna have to do something like weird with it.
Well, those Raptors were USA made, weren't they?
No, this one was a Korean made. It was a Raptor 2. I think they called it International Series.
Gotcha. You know what I do is, since it's got that white finish, you should live stream yourself doing it. You should dig a hole. You should bury it.
Oh, come on, dude.
You should bury it for a month. and then dig it back up and see what the earth has done to it, and then you'll have a natural distress shop.
And then you'll buy it. You'll buy it, Nick, of course, because you'll be like, that has Mojo. Now that has Mojo.
This thing is pretty distressed
like
already.
Okay, so I actually relicked all my hardware with Coca-Cola one time.
Oh.
I put my hardware and my pick guard and all my knobs and everything in a Rondo guitar. I put it in a vat of Coke, not cocaine, Coca-Cola. and then I wrapped it up and I left it for 2 weeks, and it was awesome. It really worked, and it made me never want to drink Coke again, by the way.
Oh yeah.
But dude, the only thing I will say is that it smelled like Coke no matter what. It smelled like Coca-Cola.
It's not
probably.
a bad.
I sold that.
Yeah, that's not a bad smell.
No, I sold that guitar, but it did do the job though. It aged everything.
Yeah.
So hey kids, if you want to distress your own guitar and you want Mojo, Coca-Cola,
or not,
or bury it in the ground.
It's a good tip.
Good tip. News you can use. Yeah. All right. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Does that bring us to close?
Well, that's been fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've got an episode, guys.